spoke to you about it, that we are all victims, that we have all become as victims in the country that we have managed to build. I told you how we were all running away.
Now, I want you, before we get started, I want you to listen to Dele's prison experience and compare that to how broken down he is on this, his first podcast since he came out of prison, and what he says about the strength he had in prison, where he determined that regardless of what happened, he was not going to shed a tear. And he did not shed a tear for those wicked people who held him in prison. But it's important for you as his supporters to see how broken down he is as he appreciates the support you gave him, which was his strength those 21 days that they held him locked up.
There's multiple people that I met in prison, and I will yet speak to my prison experience, but I assure you, I didn't shed a single tear. So I'm not talking about me in some pity form. I went to prison and I view it as a finishing school. It showed me exactly how ugly our country is.
How are we doing so far? If you see value in what we do and the programming we bring you, please subscribe. It doesn't cost you money. Please like and please share.
We have all become as victims in the country that we have managed to build. I told you how we were all running away. I told you how we were all running away from Nigeria because we have built an intolerable country unfit for human habitation. Because of what we have all collectively tolerated, we have lost our country and we have become as slaves in the country that we have all built, and we are all to blame.
Tonight I think of my home, the home where I was born.
Folks, have you ever thought about the relationship between a porcupine and its environment, especially the porcupine and the most powerful animal in its environment, which is the tiger or the lion and all those things? How does the porcupine survive the wild, as small as it is? I bring up this story because even as small as a porcupine is, the tiger and the lion avoid the porcupine because of those pin-like objects around its skin. And with those tiny little pins, it repels any attacker, and the lion knows that if it insists, it will die because those little things will destroy it. That's the way we want to think about Dele Farotimi's ordeal with the powerful powers that be in Nigeria. Listen to how he puts it.
I made the stupid error of thinking that I was the porcupine and that those who were coming after me were the unwary predator. I am not the porcupine. It's not me. I'm just as harmless and defenseless as any of the other rabbits in this space. I'm not given to tears, and I'm sorry. See, back to the issue. We all built this. We made this mess together, and it will take all of us to resolve the mess that we have made. It will take all of us. Without all of us functioning as one, the way you found the grace to function as one in the last month, you all acted as one. It wasn't about being Christian, being Muslim. They divided us along too many lines.
They have divided us along too many lines. And we have conveniently accepted those lines that they divided us along. Tribalism, Tiwa ni Tiwa, Yoruba Ronu, Nkanyi o Nkanyi, Otego ha obuwere anyị. All that crap, Nyamiri, Ajekuta Mamomi, Ndi ofe mmanụ, just name it, all out of ignorance. I live in the United States. Americans don't know the difference between a Ghanaian, a Nigerian, a Cameroonian, a Kenyan, a South African. They don't give a rat's ass. As far as they are concerned, the prejudiced ones see you as nothing but a damned bunch of fucking Africans. But within Africa, instead of uniting to fight the stereotypes that people across the world have about us, we come home to stay divided along the lines that the people who make billions of dollars, not naira, out of those lines they have divided us along. But there is hope. There is hope. Listen to the following lines from Dele Farotimi, and it's part of my concluding notes. This is going to be a very short video. Listen to what he says, and you'll see there is hope for Nigeria.
Some Bulabas spoke for me. Obedience spoke for me. My brother in the Revolution Now movement, all of them spoke for me. Traditional rulers, you all spoke, and because you all spoke, I couldn't be treated the way each and every one of the other persons who do not deserve to be in prison were treated. The system resisted. I spent 21 days in captivity. Well, it's a long walk to freedom, but it could also be a short walk. It depends on each and every one of us. But the one thing that has become very clear to me, is that whatever we are going to get, we are going to have to act as one. We cannot continue to divide ourselves the way we've been horribly divided. We've got to act in concert, and in acting in concert, we should be able to achieve better results. We are the ones who have divided ourselves. We need to agree what our own enlightened selfish interests might be. And I assure you there are multiple interests, because there is nothing that afflicts one part of this country that does not afflict the other. A Nigerian is not a citizen. The struggle ahead of us is the one where we must demand to be citizens. Those of you who desire separate homelands, you are only going to get that when you become citizens. Unfortunately or fortunately for all of us, we are trapped in this monstrosity that is called Nigeria. If we are going to ever come out of the monstrosity, whether that be as different nations or whether that be as one, it would be because we found the courage to become citizens in the space we are occupying today, forget the contrived differences between us, and then ensure that as citizens, we exercise our free sovereign will to do with Nigeria, our home country today, as we care. So those of you who desire Odua Republic or you're desiring Biafra, that's fine. But let's first of all become citizens here. And then we may, as citizens, exercising our sovereign will, have referendums where you can decide democratically, if these homelands should be created. That should be our clear thoughts right now, how to become citizens. You do not become citizens in a place unruled by law. So the struggle ahead of us is to insist on the rule of law in the country in which we live. There are many struggles ahead. I will be seeking legal reliefs and redress against everyone involved in my abduction. Let us be clear. I remain your brother. I remain you, Dele Farotimi, S.A.N., Senior Accused of Nigeria. I am not a victim again. I am a threat. That's what my brother Baldwin says.
Dele Farotimi is no longer a victim. He's now identified as threats. Maybe it's time for all of us collectively to remove the victimhood from our heads and put our collective strength into becoming real threats to the powers that be in Nigeria, or they are going to vanquish us. We, through these years, have been victims in a mess we collectively built. It's time for us to collectively become threats to fix the mess that we collectively built. The bane of our problem, the number one bane of our problem, is tribalism. Let's not look at the tears that Dele Farotimi shed as tears of weakness. Those are not tears of weakness. Those are tears of lament. Lament for what we are not doing because we continue to play victims in a place where we need to put our strengths together and become threats to the people who oppress us. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is Fred Nwankwo coming to you from our studios in Chicago with another edition of Bull Talk on LNTV. And until next time, good night and God bless. How are we doing so far? If you see value in what we do and the programming we bring you, please subscribe. It doesn't cost you money. Please like and please share.
Tonight I think of my home, the home where I was born. I think of my family and the poor farmhouse we had. There in my home, we had no sophistication. maize farms and the birds away from the rice farms. Come back home at sun